Well, let's get started. Welcome everyone. I'll be talking about testing. Let's jump into it.
World-renowned researchers who are in the running community. So I think and world-renowned authors as well. So I think there's a lot of value for the undergrads to be kind of if this
So here,
actually
let's see where we are. Let's see where we're standing. So we have tests for get show schedules, handle announcement, and parse new show issue. All right. Let me pull in the latest changes and make sure I have the latest dependencies. And then run the tests. So I use Uvu, which is a very small test runner, which works good with ES modules, which is what I'm using here. Okay, so we have tests for get show schedules and handle show announcement and for parse new show issues. So the next one is handle show done and handle show start. All right, so let's go alphabetically and start with this one, handle show done. So I will just copy and paste the one for handle show announcement. Let's see. So first thing is we wanna replace this. We're done. And I don't need a mock date here because handle show done is actually not time-based. Handle show done is whenever an issue is closed and the issue has the label show, then we are running handle show done. So at this point we are guaranteed that we have an issues event with a closed action and that the issue has a show label on it. All right, so I can remove mocking the date. I don't think I'm tweeting out anything. Let's see, handle show done. What are we doing here actually? I'm instantiating Octokit here with the GitHub token and I'm getting the GitHub event here. Okay. And then I'm parsing the show issue. I'm adding a comment. I'm using Twitter. I'm updating the Twitter profile here. And then updating the to-do. Okay, great. Let's just remove everything that we are not using here. So this is my Octokit mock basically, and I know that I use mock request, and then my mock Twitter request. Okay, and let's just remove all these assertions here. All right, so the first thing is I need to change how this file is set out to be, because this is untestable. When I import it, it evaluates the code right away, which is not what we want. So let's see what we did with handle show announcement. We basically wrapped it all in a block like this, which is what we are going to do here as well. Like that. Okay, and then all the process env is now just env because we are passing it in. Then we use core, which we pass in. We use octokit. And we pass in Twitter requests. So this is already perfect. All right. So let's just see what happens when we execute this. Handle show done tests, and it will probably complain. Let's see where we are. Okay, so we didn't set the event path. Okay. So I think the event is closed. Let me see in the actions. Something that I recommend doing that I don't think I have done here yet is to always log out the event for debugging for cases like this. This one is also called test. All right. So handle show done YAML. Yeah, closed. Okay, so let's create basically based on this one. But now it's closed. And I'm not sure what I will actually need here, so we can just wait. I know that we have the label with show here. I don't think we're actually using it in the test, but so what? Okay, repository, that's fine. All right, let's try this again. So now it's complaining that it doesn't have. Okay. So here, if route equals this right here, then we check if the parameters are what we want them to be, and then return something. And let's see what happens now. Okay, so I want the owner to be gr2am and repo help desk because this is what I mocked the environment variable to be. Okay, and then issue number is 1, and the body is this string here. Without the mid dots. Okay. So that looks right. Also, it's not a string. It shouldn't be a string. Okay. Oops. It tries to oh yeah, it must be wrapped in an object which is data, because this is a response object. Okay, so now we are here. If route is return, and then also here deep equal parameters, and let's see what they're expecting from us. Okay, that looks good, and I'll just log it out so it will be easier for me to copy. It would be nice to have like just inline snapshots, but on the other side it's not worth the overhead for me here. Okay, so now we are testing that we are passing all the credentials, we're updating the name and the URL back to its initial state. Okay, and then patch issue number. So this is another request here. Okay, and let's see what they want from us here. Body, nothing. So that is not correct, but we will get to that in a second. Okay, let's just put this in here, remove the plus. All right. So updated checklist. Okay, let's see the other pictures, because no, that's not. Parse issue, list issues, oh yeah. So this is basically what we want. Closed. So we are not reading the title, I think. We are not reading the ID. We are not reading labels. So let's just remove everything we don't need. I don't think we're even reading the action. All right, so this is not the announcement tweet. Twitter profile reset. Reset Twitter profile. I think that doesn't really matter what we tell them. Let's see what we got now. Split undefined. Oh, okay. We actually do read out the title. But are we using it at all? Looks like we're just using the number. Current show issue. Okay. Oh, you know what? let's just leave it. We might want to use something like that in the future. Okay, so let's put the title back in here. Like this. All right, that looks more like it. So in our check here, we now want to check that the checkbox has been checked for the profile reset to do. And all right. Okay, the other thing is we want to use core info. And then we cannot use console logs formatting syntax, so we just have to use string literals. And now our test will fail. All right. Current show URL. Again, I have to resort to use string literals here. Okay. So this is not right, but we can have a look at this in a moment. To do in issue updated current show URL. Okay, so issue is closed, and we have to add HTML URL here. Issue URL, and then this is not issue URL, this is comment URL. So this will be comment URL, and this will be issue URL from the fixture. All right, here's another test. So just to recap what we just did. First, I changed the handle show done JS script. So now all the code is wrapped in an asynchronous function run, which I can import from the test. And when run on GitHub, where GitHub Actions is always set, then this code is executed right away. I also have another check here for checking for Node-env, so that I can run the npm test script on GitHub Actions as well without the code being immediately executed. You can see here I'm setting Node-env to test when running npm test on GitHub Actions. So this is the basic setup I use everywhere. Then I retrieve the event payload, which is an issues event. And in my test, I can now set it to whatever I want, which points it to my fixture issues closed JSON, where I can set it to whatever I want it to be for the testing. And then I replace the console logs with core info so that we are using Actions Core APIs for the logging here. Okay, so that is that. Then in terms of the test, handle show done test. I'm importing the run function that I just mentioned. And then I'm mocking environmental variables. Let me just make this easier to grasp. I mock OctoKit, I mock Twitter, and then pass all these things, the environment variable mock, the core mock also, where I mock the info method, and pass it all to my run function. So this way I have full control over the actual implementations. Yeah, and that's it. Finally, I just compare the log output, and I compare the parameters whenever my mocked functions have been called with the like the OctoKit request. I check if it's a specific route, and if it is, then I compare it and make sure that the endpoint was called with the right parameters. And we have two request calls here. One is to create a comment, and one is to update the issue body. And for Twitter requests, we have only one call where I update my Twitter profile back to its initial state, where I reset the URL and the name of my profile. And that's it. Cool. So let's add it all. Handle show done JS. I will need to pull first and then push. Okay. On to the next one. Oh wait, there was some, I didn't use the read file here. Refactor, remove unused port. All right. Now let's do handle show start, which is more similar to the announcement test instead of the done test. So I will again just copy and paste this one. And then I will import the start event, and then here in my checklist I think so. I don't know what the exact label is here, but we shall find out. I will look into the rest in a minute. Next, handle show announcement and handle show start, because here again I need to wrap it into my function here, similar like I do it here. So I no longer need the OctoKit, and I don't want to do console log, I want to do core info, and then again I need to use the string templates. Let's see, that one looks good. Here as well. Okay. All right. So let's handle show start test. And one thing that we now want to change is instead of 30 minutes before the show, we want to set it to time of the show, which means we are now at 1700 UTC time. Let's see what's going to happen. Handler show start test. Okay, so that all looks good. Because I'm not going live, the comment now is I'm live in this particular test. Let's see what's next. Mock environment. Oh, I know. Handle show start. Process env. And I'm not using env instead. Okay. Okay, so instead of starting in 30 minutes, we are going live now. Okay, and then I need to add another check here because we are also updating our profile. So deep equal parameters. And we will definitely have the auth again. And then probably some other stuff. Let's see. Okay. What? Let's try this again. Okay, so I'm basically loading the issues from here. And right now I only have the to-dos for the announcement in here. So let me just make this easier to grasp. Okay. Let me just find this in my so we have to add these to-dos. Like that, and then replace all the new lines. Okay. All right, let's see what we got now. Perfect. I just log it out so it's easier to copy and paste. Okay, so that should be fine now. Okay, comment created that. It sounds like we still have the wrong syntax here, so let's use issue templates. And then we have another string here. Can't is mid dots. All right. So that works, but I'm pretty sure that we now broke handle show announcement test. Yep. So I think what we need here, announcement test. Is remove these and X these. Let's see if that's enough. Oops. Nope. What are you complaining about? Oh. Let me just log that out. And see. Let me actually just copy this so I can have the comparison. Oh, I know. Yeah, so basically the labels changed as well. That makes sense. All right, so now we have that passing again. Perfect. And here we go. That was another test that went on pretty quick because it's similar to the other one. And now that we have tests, we can start doing all kinds of refactoring, and we don't need to worry that things will fall apart. At least we don't need to worry too much. And we can start trusting, our test suite, and if things fall apart, then we have a starting point to which we can add more tests as things break, so we can avoid regressions in future. All right. So first I will adapt show announcement tests to include more checkboxes in checklist. And then we add handle show start. Let's pull again, push again. Sweet. I really want to get rid of these. So probably might be the next episode. Yeah, just to show, here we are running npm test and it's running the UV test and it's all looking good. All right. On to the next one. Do we have a next one? Handle show test. Parse new show issue. Update Twitter account. Update show sections in README. All right. Update Twitter account. I don't feel like I'm even using that at all. Let's see. Yeah, let's get rid of it. Right? Update Twitter account. This seems to have been just a test for myself while I've been still building this out. So it's not being used by all right, this is more interesting. So this is the first automation that I've built. Update show sections in README, which basically updates the list of shows, both the past shows and the upcoming shows in the repository, and also on my GitHub profile here. There we go. Okay, so let's start at least. Maybe we can finish this today, but I'm not sure. This is a rather complex one. So again, first things first, let's wrap the whole thing into this async run function. It won't look exactly the same, but it will look similar. So yeah, we use the paginate plugin here. So that is basically the same thing. So we can remove that part. And then put all the code in here. Next, we don't use console log, we use core info, and we don't use process env. Oops. We use env. And then lastly, we will not use readme box directly because we want to mock that out as well. So we will pass that in here. Perfect. Sweet. So that should be fine. And now I think we are using some no, we are not using any day.js here, right? Okay, so this might be not too hard after all. Let's copy this one as a starting point. Update show sections in readme's test. Okay. JS, and this is the test. Okay. Now let's see. What are we doing here? It doesn't look like the only env we are using is GitHub token. And then let's just remove that, and we will not use this, but we will use mock readme box. And pass it in here. And then we shall find out what kind of locks we have. Okay. Let's see how it's falling apart. Paginate is not a function. What, that makes sense. Paginate is not a function. Now it is. Now it's loading all the issues. That is so wrong, Copilot. We don't use the colon notation for a long time now. Try to keep up. Okay, so we will return an array. And we also compare the parameters here. So deep equal parameters to something. Let's see what we get. Probably just owner. Oh no, a few more. Alright, so let's just put this here. And then remove again all the mid dots, and then thank you Prettier for just automatically updating everything. So this is what we want. We want to load both open and closed issues because by default it's just open, and we're loading 100 issues per request, which is the maximum. And that's fine memory wise for us here. Alright, and then we just return an empty array. So update section is not a function. Oh, looks like we don't need this, which also means we don't need any of these. Now, read box. So, parameters, deep equal, parameters, and I know that I passed the token. But I probably pass in a few other things as well. Oh, section name. Let's add a normal equal here and say equal section name. Let's see what it wants from us. Okay. What? Wait. Oh, no, this is the new content, not the section name. Okay, without any issues. Because we return an empty array here. And then the new content should be new line, another new line, upcoming shows, capital U, 1, 2, 3 empty lines, past shows, and 1, 2, 3 new lines. Oh, there's one more, okay. Right. So we have the token, and then the owner, the repo is help desk, section is help desk shows, the branch is main, and the message is this one. Let's remove the mid dots again. What? Owner? Oh, it's called twice, so this is kind of funky. Let's do this. Repo and rest parameters. So let's do rest here and remove the repo here. And then I think we might have some assertion thing that includes. There are no types. What is this? Okay, let's just see the documentation then. Oops. There we go. What kind of assert methods do we have here? Do we have something with include? Match. Okay. Probably we'll just use okay. Huh. All right. I'm pretty sure that in ESM it imports the strict variant automatically, the same way it imports fs promises instead of fs by default in ESM, but I'm not 100% sure. Alright, so let's do the following and okay, and then help desk or gr2m includes repo. Let's see if that works. Okay. Could not be matched. That would be a more helpful error message. Help desk could not be matched, and that's because I missed a K there. Okay. So this is our first test, and it works. So I think I will just push that. Oh. Test update shows sections in readmes. All right. Now what we actually want is get the real thing here. So let's just run this really quick. Like I have like a global git ignore for anything, any file that starts with Gregor, so I use it to kind of experiment and do quick stuff like this. So let's import ArctoKit. Oh, I also need to import paginate plugin here. So import ArctoKit plugin paginate rest. Paginate rest. Otherwise, that would have. Oh wait, I'm a blind. It's right there. Duh. Anyway. And then instantiate like I do here. Okay, and then console log issues. So that is a lot. Just for now, let's do, I think I can pass in let's just do slice 2 of them, the first 2. Okay. And then JSON stringify like that. And then pipe it into my clipboard. It now fixtures. Probably should update this one, but I will list issues for update shows sections JSON. All right. Now let's add another test. Here, and this time we will return something. Okay, so now this time I actually need to import stuff here. So let me just copy all this stuff here. I will need this one and this one. Then okay, that's assert, that's local. Then we set the dir name, and then we load the issues, which is now this new file here. Okay, and now we return our issues instead of the empty array and see what's happened. What will happen? You can also, just to avoid some noise, note. Okay. All right, so let's update that. this. Let's see if that is right. Okay. So we could just stop here, and at least I should commit it. Oh wait. Let's remove the only here. Great, so now we have a test which actually tests with real data here, but now this is a massive fixture, and I don't think we need any of this stuff. And it's nice to have tests because I don't need to guess. I can just run my tests again and see if I messed up something. And I did. HTML URL. What else? I'm confused. What? Does it want to have 47 here? That doesn't make any sense. Oh, let's see. Oh, we used the state. And this one was open. That makes sense. Okay. And then I'm actually not sure if we even use the body. Let me see. Ah, awesome. All right. So we need the HTML URL. We don't need ID or node ID. We need the number. We need the title. And then we need the state. And that's it. All right. And that brings, I would say, our tests to a conclusion. All right, so yeah, I think we are done now with our tests, and I hope this time you could actually hear me. Yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to comment here on issue 49, and I will add some more show notes, and I will add the link to the recording once it's out. And yeah, I think actually one thing that I would like to make a show on maybe next week, because I need it, is bot accounts. Like, we all use bot accounts, and I use, for example, usually I use one bot account per GitHub project. And example for OctoKit, I use OctoKit bot, which is a user account that I only use for automation. And this is a pattern that exists in GitHub for a long time, because before there were GitHub Actions or OAuth apps, there were basically bot accounts that you could use that way. But they come with all kinds of problems. For example, you cannot create an access token, personal access token that is scoped to a subset of permissions. Well, you can a little bit, but you cannot scope it to have access only to a specific repository, for example. That is something that GitHub Apps can do. And what I started doing is replacing these user accounts with GitHub Apps, and then use basically within GitHub Actions, I have the GitHub Apps credentials and the repository secrets, and that permits me to create installation access tokens that can be scoped to one or multiple repositories, and only the ones that the app is also installed on. So it gives some control. It's much easier to share among the team, especially now with two-factor authentication and everything. So anyway, it's a great solution, and I think everyone should do it. I think we just don't, because people are not aware that it's possible, and it might be too hard. So yeah, I think I will create a new action that just everyone will be able to use. I've seen some out there, but they do not have all the options that I want, and also it is a sensitive problem, and I don't want to use a third-party action for that and send them my GitHub app credentials. So yeah, I will create a new issue for that when I'm done here, and I'm looking forward to have you join me next week. Thanks.